most of the time, they don't even know they've made the decision. They just walk away with a feeling. He seems solid. Or something about her felt off. And that feeling, formed in minutes, follows you for years. Trust is not built the way most people think it's built. Most people believe trust is earned slowly over long stretches of time, through big gestures and grand loyalty. And some of it is. But the foundation of it, the part that decides whether the slow building ever gets a chance to begin, that part is built fast in small moments through habits you may not even know you have. Every glance, every promise, every time you follow through or fail to, the people around you are keeping a quiet record. They are watching whether your words match your actions. And they are building a picture of who you are that becomes very hard to change once it's set. Today I want to talk about 10 habits that make people trust you almost instantly. Not tricks, not techniques for manipulating people into feeling something you haven't earned, but real habits that come from real character, that other human beings can sense long before they can explain. These are simple things. You already do some of them. You already fail at others without realizing. And each one is quietly telling the people around you whether you are safe to rely on. Build these habits and watch how differently people treat you. Not because you fooled them, but because you've become the kind of person who deserves what they're giving you. Now, before we get into the list, you have to understand what trust actually is. Because most people treat it like a mood, like something that happens to them, like a stroke of luck when somebody decides to like them. It's not. Trust is a prediction. When somebody trusts you, what they're really doing is predicting your future behavior based on the evidence you've given them. They are betting that the version of you they see today is the version they'll get tomorrow. Listen. Every human being is running that calculation constantly on everyone they meet. Can I predict this person? Will they do what they say? Are they the same in front of me as behind me? The answers to those questions decide everything. You see, the brain is built to look for danger. It is built to scan every new person for signs of threat, for inconsistency, for the small tells that say, this one might hurt me. And when it finds those tells, it closes quietly without announcement. The other person just becomes a little more guarded around you and never tells you why. But when the brain finds the opposite, consistency, follow through, steadiness under pressure, it opens, it relaxes, it decides you are one of the safe ones. And once you're in that category, people give you things they don't give to everyone. Their honesty, their business, their loyalty, the benefit of the doubt. And here's what most people never realize. The habits that put you in the safe category are not dramatic. They are not charisma. They are not a firm handshake and a good smile, though those things don't hurt. They are small, repeated behaviors that most people are too careless to maintain. Which is exactly why they work so well. Because in a world where most people are careless about these things, the person who is careful about them stands out immediately. You don't have to be extraordinary. You just have to be consistent where almost everybody else is sloppy. So if you have felt for years that people keep you at a distance and you don't know why, the answer is probably here. Somewhere in your habits, you have been sending signals that tell people to stay guarded. And you've been sending them without knowing. The good news is that habits can be changed. And the moment you start changing them, the people around you start recalculating. Slowly at first, then faster. The picture they carry of you begins to shift. You must take this seriously. Every single day, in 100 small ways, you are teaching people whether to trust you or not. Let's make sure you're teaching them the right lesson. Starting now. Number one, You must learn to say exactly what you'll do and then do exactly that. This sounds so simple that most people dismiss it, but I am telling you, it is the single most powerful trust-building habit there is, and almost nobody does it well. Most people make promises loosely, keep them loosely, and never notice the gap. Every time you say, I'll call you Tuesday, and you call on Tuesday, you make a small deposit. Every time you say, I'll have it done by Friday, and it's done by Friday, you make another. And these deposits add up faster than you think. The person on the other end doesn't consciously keep score, but their nervous system does. After a few of these, they stop bracing when you make a promise. They just believe you. And that belief is worth more than anything you could ever say about yourself. But it works the other way too. Every time you say, I'll call you Tuesday, and Tuesday comes and goes with no call, you make a withdrawal. And it doesn't matter that you meant to call. It doesn't matter that you were busy. It doesn't matter that you would have gotten to it eventually. The other person only knows one thing. You said a thing. The thing didn't happen, and a small piece of your reliability just eroded. Do that enough times, and people learn to discount everything you say by 50% before you even finish saying it. You see, the people who are trusted instantly are usually the people who underpromise. They don't say, I'll get you the whole thing by tomorrow when they know it's a stretch. They say, I'll have the first part to you by Thursday, and then they deliver it Wednesday. They have learned to make promises small enough to keep, and then keep them without fail. And every kept promise, no matter how small, builds the foundation for the next larger thing they'll be trusted with. Build this habit deliberately. Start making fewer promises and start keeping the ones you make. If you're not sure you can do something, don't say you will. Say, let me check and get back to you. Then get back to them when you said you would. The person who keeps small promises perfectly becomes the person others trust with the large ones. That is how it works every single time. Next, you have to learn to hold what people tell you. Because the moment somebody shares something private with you and later hears it come back around from somebody else, you are finished. Not just for that one thing, for everything. They will smile at you the next time they see you. They'll be perfectly friendly. But something has closed and it will not open again. They have learned that things given to you don't stay with you. People are constantly testing you with small pieces of information, whether they know it or not. They tell you something minor and slightly private, and then they watch. Does it come back? Does it show up in somebody else's mouth? If it doesn't, they give you a slightly larger piece next time. And that is how depth is built between two people. But most people cannot hold what they're given. They receive a piece of information, and it becomes currency in their next conversation. They trade it for the small thrill of being the one who knows something, of being interesting, of having news to share. And they never connect the slow cooling of their relationships to this habit. They just notice that people don't seem to open up to them. They don't realize that they trained everybody, one leaked secret at a time, to stay shallow with them. You see, the person who can be trusted with a confidence becomes a rare and valuable thing in another person's life. Everybody has 100 people they talk to, and a small handful they can actually tell things to. The people in that small handful are the ones who proved over and over that what goes in doesn't come out. Build this habit. When somebody tells you something in confidence, treat it as though it were locked in a vault. Do not repeat it. Do not hint at it. Do not use it as a bridge into another conversation. And when you're tempted, because the temptation is real, the pull to share is strong, remember what you're trading. A moment of feeling interesting in exchange for somebody's trust. That is a terrible trade. and the people who make it never seem to learn. Next, you got to learn to admit when you're wrong quickly and without a fight. Most people cannot do this. They will defend a mistake long past the point where everybody in the room already knows it was a mistake. And in doing so, they destroy the trust they were trying to protect. Because when you refuse to admit a small error, you tell everybody watching one thing: this person will lie to protect their ego. And if you'll lie about the small things, you'll lie about the large ones too. Here's the truth. Admitting you were wrong is one of the fastest ways to build trust that exists. It seems backward. You'd think showing a flaw would make people trust you less. It does the opposite. Because the person who can say, "I was wrong about that," is showing you that their relationship with the truth is stronger than their relationship with their own pride. When you admit an error cleanly, no excuses, no long justification, just, "You're right, I made a mistake. Here's how I'll fix it." The people around you exhale. They realize they don't have to fight you to get to reality. They realize you're on the same side as the facts. And that makes you enormously easy to work with and enormously safe to rely on. But the person who can't do this becomes exhausting. Every mistake becomes a battle. Every correction becomes a negotiation. People learn that pointing out a problem to you costs them an argument, so they stop pointing them out. And now you're surrounded by problems nobody will tell you about because everybody learned that telling you is more trouble than it's worth. You see, the people who are trusted at the highest levels are almost always people who admit fault easily. They've discovered that the ego protection everybody else is doing actually costs them far more than a moment of admitted wrongness ever would. Build this habit. The next time you're wrong, practice saying it plainly and fast. Watch how people respond. Watch how the tension leaves the room. The admission you were afraid would cost you respect actually earns it. Next, you have to give people your full attention when they're talking. And I mean actually give it, not perform it. Because people can tell the difference between somebody who is listening and somebody who is waiting for their turn to speak. They can feel when your mind is somewhere else. They can feel when you're already forming your response before they've finished their thought. And the moment they feel it, a small door closes. You've told them without a word that they don't quite matter. Attention is one of the rarest things you can give another person and one of the most powerful. Most people go through their whole day never being fully listened to by anyone. So when somebody actually does it, when you actually stop and turn toward them and take in what they're saying without rushing to reply, it registers as something almost startling. It feels like care, because it is care. When you listen to somebody with your whole attention, several things happen at once. They feel respected, they feel understood, and they begin to trust you, because a person who listens carefully is a person who is unlikely to misjudge them, unlikely to run over them, unlikely to be careless with who they are. The listener gets trusted because listening itself is a form of respect, and people trust those who respect them. It's that simple and that difficult, because real listening takes effort most people won't spend. You see, the person who half listens is constantly making small mistakes. They ask a question that was already answered. They misremember what was said. They respond to something the person didn't actually mean. And every one of those small mistakes tells the other person, "You weren't really here with me." Over time, those mistakes teach people to keep their real thoughts to themselves. Build this habit. The next time somebody's talking to you, put everything else down. Actually look at them. Don't plan your reply. Just receive what they're saying all the way to the end, and then take a beat before you respond. That beat tells them you actually heard them. That beat is worth more than anything clever you could have said. Full attention is a gift so rare that giving it makes you unforgettable. Next, you must be the same person in every room, because nothing destroys trust faster than watching somebody change their personality depending on who they're standing next to. The person who is warm to your face and cold behind your back. The person who is gracious to the powerful and dismissive to the powerless. People notice these things, and they draw the obvious conclusion. Consistency across situations is the deepest signal of character there is. When somebody sees you treat the waiter with the same respect you treat the important guest, they learn something crucial about you. They learn that your kindness isn't strategic. It isn't a performance you turn on for people who can help you. It's just who you are. And that means they can predict how you'll treat them when they're no longer useful. That prediction is the essence of trust. When you speak about people the same way, whether they're present or absent, you send a powerful message to everyone listening. You tell them, I won't talk about you behind your back either. The person who gossips to you will gossip about you. Everybody knows this instinctively. So when you refuse to say things about the absent that you wouldn't say to their face, the people around you feel safe. They know their name is safe in your mouth. You see, most people underestimate how much others are watching. They think their two-faced behavior goes unnoticed because nobody confronts them about it. But it's noticed. It's always noticed. The person who is charming to your face and different behind your back has simply taught you that their charm is a mask. And once you know somebody wears a mask, you never fully trust the face again. Build this habit. Decide who you are and be that person in every room with every person, regardless of what they can do for you. Speak about the absent as though they were present. Treat the person who can do nothing for you exactly as well as the person who can do everything. When your character stops depending on your audience, people stop needing to guess which version of you they're getting. And people trust what they don't have to guess about. Next, you have to stop over-explaining and over-apologizing. This one surprises people because it seems like the more you explain yourself, the more transparent you're being. But it's the opposite. The person who over-explains signals anxiety, and anxiety reads as something to be uncertain about. The person who piles justification on top of justification seems like they're hiding something, even when they're not. The very act of over-explaining makes people wonder what you're so worried about. Confident, trustworthy people say what they mean in as few words as possible and then stop. They don't need to defend every decision with a paragraph. They don't apologize 5 times for something that needed 1 apology. They have a calm relationship with their own choices, and that calm is contagious. When you're settled about what you're doing, the people around you become settled about it too. When you say no and then spend 3 minutes explaining why, you actually weaken the no. You signal that you're not sure you're allowed to say it. But when you say no, I can't do that, and let it stand, people respect it. The clean no, spoken once without a mountain of justification, tells people that you know your own mind. And people trust those who know their own mind far more than those who seem to be talking themselves into things. The same is true of apologies. 1 clear apology, sincerely given, is worth 10 anxious ones. When you apologize once and then move forward, you show strength. When you apologize repeatedly for the same thing, you make the other person uncomfortable, and you draw attention to the mistake instead of the repair. You cannot build trust from a posture of constant anxiety. The over-explainer and the over-apologizer are both broadcasting the same signal. I'm not sure I have the right to take up this space. And people find it very hard to lean on somebody who isn't sure they have. the right to stand there. Build this habit. Say what you mean once, clearly, then stop talking. Let your words stand without a hedge of explanation around them. Apologize when you should, sincerely and completely, one time. Then let it be finished. The economy of a person who doesn't over-explain reads as confidence, and confidence, when it's real, is deeply trustworthy. Next, you must learn to give credit generously and take blame willingly. Because the person who does the opposite, who grabs credit and dodges blame, is the person nobody wants at their back. And everybody can spot them within a few interactions. The one who says we did it when it goes well, but they did it when it goes badly. People see this pattern instantly, and the moment they see it, they stop giving you their best effort, because they've learned you'll take the reward and leave them the risk. When you give credit away freely, when you point to the people who helped, when you name their contributions, when you let them shine, you don't diminish yourself. You do the opposite. Because everybody watching learns that working with you is safe, that their effort will be seen, that you won't steal what they built, and people will run through walls for somebody who reliably gives them the credit they earned. And when you take blame, when something goes wrong and you say, "That's on me," instead of scanning the room for somebody to point at, you become the kind of person others will follow into difficulty, because they know you won't feed them to the wolves the moment things get hard. The willingness to absorb blame is one of the great tests of character, and almost nobody passes it. When the pressure comes, most people's first instinct is self-protection. And self-protection means finding somewhere else for the fault to land. The person who resists that instinct, who stands up and says, "The responsibility is mine," earns a kind of trust that cannot be bought any other way. You see, credit and blame are the two currencies of every group of people working towards something. The person who hoards the good currency and dumps the bad one on others is quickly understood by everyone and quietly avoided. The person who gives away the good and absorbs the bad becomes the person everyone secretly wants to work with, even if they can't explain why. Build this habit. When something goes well, look for who to thank and thank them out loud in front of others. When something goes wrong, look first at your own part in it and name it before anybody else has to. Give the credit up and take the blame down. It costs you almost nothing, and it earns you the deepest loyalty you'll ever have. Next, you have to be willing to say, "I don't know." Because the person who pretends to know everything is trusted with nothing important. It seems like it should be the reverse. It seems like appearing knowledgeable should build confidence. But the person who has an answer for everything eventually gets caught being confidently wrong. And once you've been caught being confidently wrong, people can never again tell your certainty from your guessing. "I don't know, but I'll find out" is one of the most trust-building sentences in any language, because it tells people that when you do claim to know something, you actually know it. The person who admits the edges of their knowledge is telling you where the reliable information ends. And that makes everything inside those edges more believable, not less. I once knew a man who could not, under any circumstances, say the words, "I don't know." Ask him anything and he had an answer, delivered with total confidence, whether he actually knew or not. For a while, people found him impressive. But over time, they started noticing that some of his confident answers turned out to be wrong. And here's the damage, because he never distinguished between what he knew and what he was guessing. People eventually couldn't trust any of it. His true statements and his invented ones came out in exactly the same tone. Then I knew another man in the same field who said, "I don't know," freely and often. He'd say, That's outside what I'm sure of. Let me look into it. At first, he seemed less impressive than the first man. But over time, something happened. People began to trust his yes completely because they knew he only said it when he meant it. His willingness to admit ignorance made his knowledge worth gold. You see, the two men had opposite fates, and the difference was one phrase. One built a reputation for confidence that slowly turned into a reputation for unreliability. The other built a reputation for honesty that slowly turned into a reputation for expertise. The willingness to say, "I don't know," was the whole difference. Build this habit. Stop pretending to know things you don't know. When you reach the edge of your knowledge, say so plainly, "I'm not sure about that. That's outside what I know. Let me find out and get back to you." Your honesty about the limits of your knowledge will make people trust everything inside those limits. And that is a trade worth making every single time. Next, you must show up consistently, especially when it's small and nobody's watching. Because trust is not built in the big dramatic moments nearly as much as people think. It's built in the accumulation of small, ordinary reliabilities. Being on time, remembering what you said you'd remember, doing the little thing you promised, even though nobody would have noticed if you didn't. People are far more moved by consistency than by intensity. The friend who shows up steadily year after year, in small, unremarkable ways, builds more trust than the friend who disappears for months and then makes one grand gesture. The grand gesture is nice, but it's the showing up again and again in the small, forgettable moments that tells people they can actually count on you. When you're reliably on time, you're telling people that their time matters to you. When you remember the small thing they mentioned last week, you're telling them they matter to you. When you follow through on the tiny commitment that nobody would have held you to, you're telling them your word is your word, all the way down, even in the places where it wouldn't cost you anything to break it. You see, most people are consistent only when it's convenient or when somebody's watching. They keep the promises that are easy and let the small ones slide. And they never understand why they don't get trusted with the big things. It's because trust with the big things is built entirely out of reliability with the small things. Nobody hands you something important until you've proven yourself with 100 unimportant things first. The person who is watching you decide whether to trust you is not usually watching the moments you think they're watching. They're watching whether you show up on the ordinary Tuesday, whether you do the thing when it's a hassle, whether your behavior stays the same when the pressure and the audience both disappear. Build this habit. Treat the small commitments as seriously as the large ones. Be on time, even when it doesn't seem to matter. Do the little thing you said you'd do, even when no one would know. Consistency in the small things is the quiet engine of trust, and it never stops running, whether anyone is watching or not. Next, you have to be honest, even when honesty costs you something, because anybody can be honest when it's free. The real test, the one that people are unconsciously watching for, is what you do when the truth is expensive. When telling the truth means losing a sale, or admitting a fault, or giving up an advantage you could have kept just by staying quiet. Here's the truth. People can sense the difference between convenient honesty and costly honesty. And it's the costly honesty that builds the deepest trust of all. When you tell somebody a truth that hurts your own interest, you prove something that no amount of talk could prove. You prove that your honesty isn't just a policy you follow when it's easy. It's a principle you follow even when it costs you. And a principle that costs you is the only kind anybody really believes in. When you tell a customer that the cheaper option is actually better for them, when you could have sold them the expensive one, you just lost money and gained a customer for life. When you admit that the mistake was yours when you could have blamed circumstances, you just gave up cover and gained a reputation. When you tell somebody a hard truth they needed to hear, knowing it might make them like you less, you just risked the relationship and proved you're worth keeping. Every costly honesty is a deposit that pays back many times over, though almost never on the timeline you'd want. You see, most people practice honesty right up until the moment it starts to cost them, and then they get flexible. A little omission here, a convenient silence there, a small shading of the truth to protect an advantage, and they think nobody notices. But people notice. People always notice the moment your honesty stops at the border of your self-interest. And that's the moment your honesty stops meaning anything. Build this habit. The next time the truth is going to cost you something, a little money, a little face, a little advantage, tell it anyway. Tell it precisely because it costs you. Because in that moment, you're building something worth far more than what you're giving up. You're building a reputation as somebody whose word holds even under pressure. And there is nothing on earth more valuable than being known as that kind of person. So here's what I want you to carry with you. 10 habits that make people trust you almost instantly. None of them are complicated. None of them require some special gift you weren't born with. All of them come down to character expressed through repeated action. Say what you'll do and do it. Hold what people tell you. Admit when you're wrong, fast. Give people your full attention. Be the same in every room. Stop over-explaining. Give credit and take blame. Say, I don't know when you don't. Show up in the small things. Tell the truth even when it costs you. Every one of those habits is sending a signal to the people around you all day, every day. And they're deciding, based on those signals, whether you're one of the safe ones, whether they can predict you, whether your word is worth anything. You build the reputation one small action at a time, and then you live inside it. And after enough of those actions, in enough small moments, you become the person others reach for when it actually matters, the one they trust with the real thing. I am telling you, trust is the foundation underneath every good thing in a human life. The relationships, the opportunities, the doors that open because somebody decided you were worth betting on. None of it comes to the person nobody can rely on. And the beautiful thing is that you don't have to be extraordinary to build it. You just have to be consistent where almost everybody else is careless. That's a low bar, and it's available to you starting today. Pick the 3 habits from this list where you're weakest. Just 3. Start with those. Watch yourself every single day for the moments where one of them applies. The promise you're about to make loosely. The secret you're tempted to share. The mistake you're about to defend. Catch yourself in those moments and choose the trustworthy action instead. Do it again the next day and the next. The habit will build itself once you start feeding it, and the people around you will feel it before they can name it. The version of you in 5 years who has built these 10 habits into the way you simply are, that person will be trusted in rooms the current version of you can't even get into. Not because of anything you'll say about yourself, but because of what you've quietly proven. One small action at a time. Build the habits. Let people watch. Let them draw their own conclusions from the evidence you give them. You must trust that the change runs deeper than you think. Because trust, once earned in this way, is the one thing almost nobody can take from you and almost nobody ever bothers to build.